everybody. Welcome to another Common Grounds Meet the Members. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Jo Stevens and I'm the coordinator of Common Grounds, and my business is Quirky Habits. Today we're actually going to be about meeting our members, because I don't always get that opportunity to chat with our members when we have our face-to-face meetings. And I also don't sometimes, it's on the Facebook group, there's people on there as well. I'm really passionate and wanting to know about what they do and more about them. So this gives me that opportunity, but also for you to have that opportunity to learn all about our amazing members that we have in Common Grounds. So I'm going to throw to our member today. Hello, Tricia. Hello, love. How are you?
I am very well. Thanks, Jo.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. And, I'm so excited to learn a little bit more about you. I've been looking over some of the information and I think it's just so intriguing. So can you please introduce yourself and what your business name is and what it is that you do?
Okay, so my name's Tricia Bolton and my business name is Tricia Bolton Coaching, and I help professional women stop overworking and still feel successful in their professional lives. So yeah, that's how I help my lovely women.
Absolutely. And I think that's one thing I find at Common Grounds. You always get, people who are, that's why they come. And I think they're intrigued to come along to to the meetups that we have, because it is about that meeting women, helping, supporting each other. We're very much about that. So what is it that drove you then into going to coaching? Why did you decide to go down that path? If you want to tell just a little bit about your back end story, so where that kind of led you to.
Yeah. So a long time ago, I used to be a lawyer, and I was attracted to law because I loved helping people, and I also liked talking a lot. So that sounded like a good place to go. And I was in private practice for a number of years. And then I sort of decided I wanted a new challenge. And then I sort of started working for a large company.
Mhm.
And I was given the opportunity to start managing sort of lots of other lawyers. And I really enjoyed the team management part of it, like helping my sort of team excel and, in their careers and sort of achieve their goals. And that was wonderful. And then I had, a beautiful family and sort of just trying to work out sort of, work-life balance and what have you. So I changed roles and I went into less of a people role and more into a technical role, which was good and fun for a while. But then sort of I decided I really wanted to go back to working with people, which I really love, but I didn't want to manage them anymore. And I thought, well, what do I love? Like, what did I love about that old job? And it was really the coaching side of it.
Mm.
Um, Helping my team really excel and achieve their sort of their targets. So I thought, how can I do that? And in the meantime, I had discovered sort of like coaching for myself on a personal level. And I got so many aha moments and sort of awareness, sort of like I realized I had so much more power in my life than I ever knew. And I thought, you know what? I think I could do this. And I started sort of thinking about it, and I was talking to some family and friends about it, and they sort of said, "You've been coaching us for a long time, so why don't you go and actually become an official one?"
There
So
you go.
that's how
So
I
it's
ended
like
up
that
here.
natural progression into that role. And I
Yeah.
suppose that's what you were saying like before. I mean, most people go, wow, a lawyer that turned into a coach, but you were saying you're basically doing that anyway. So it's just
Yeah.
kind of like then naturally progressing into something that you enjoy. And I think that's, we kind of sometimes get to that point in our life where it's like, this part's not serving me, but I really like doing
Mm.
this. So it's
Mm.
like making that change. And I'm guessing, so like from your story, that's where you can then help others. Is that correct? Is that kind of like what your target market is?
Yeah, I think so. I think, the reason I specifically sort of want to work with women who are overworking is because like I recognize, that I have spent a lot of time sort of working a lot in my life professionally and also at home, and not recognizing sort of like I could still feel successful without overworking. And I do it sort of by helping my clients sort of manage their time. And once I got sort of on top of my own sort of time management, then I worked out sort of successful ways to still perform well at work and also like feel like I was showing up at home the way I wanted to,
Yeah.
without having to be working 24/7, at work and at home. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And I think, that's giving them that, helping them to see that, because there's so many like corporate women that really can, it's not just about having your own business, it's those corporate women who are in that role of doing everything, because we can't help ourselves as women. We tend to do that.
Yeah.
So it's helping them to see that, to find that balance and to help coach them through. Is that kind of, a little bit like more about what it's about as well?
Yeah, definitely. I've got sort of like, I work with some lawyers and some doctors, and like all, when I say sort of professional, it's sort of like we all have our profession, sort of like, we all show up in a way that is professional.
Yeah.
So, but I also have some like business owners.
Yeah.
And I think, the commonality is a lot of us sort of struggle with like how we can get everything that we want to get done in the 24 hours a day that we've all been given without thoroughly sort of like exhausting ourselves. So yeah, that's my sort of goal, to be able to sort of help, people realize that they are able to achieve their goals. They can still feel successful and show up the way that they want to, sort of like at home at the same time. It's not one or the other.
Yes, 100%. No, totally agree with that.
Yeah.
So can I ask kind of like what programs then do you have? Is it just the one-on-one coaching, or is there different programs that you have within, your coaching system?
Yeah. So at the moment, I do one-to-one coaching. I have a 6-month coaching program where we work through the whole sort of process of creating awareness about sort of where you're losing time, what is actually preventing you from managing the time that you want to. And then we sort of like move into sort of like a whole range of strategies and methods that I've got that I can help you with, helping you create more time. So yeah. And we do it sort of like over a 6-month period, because it's like anything, sort of like a lot of the things that we show up in our life they become habits. And as you know, Joe, quirky habits, this is right up your alley. It takes a while to, create habits, and it also takes a while sometimes to unwind these habits.
Absolutely.
So it's sort of like I've tried it sort of doing it in a shorter time frame, because like I am a time management coach, so I'm always mindful of other people's times. But I also want to respect, I think sometimes the time that you invest up front, doing things slowly and sort of like incrementally, then it speeds up the process in the long time, like in the long run. So you sort of, you work with me for 6 months, and then you've got these skills for the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
That's the way I look at it.
And so that's very similar. Like I started with personal coaching, and it helped me like with my emotional habits, and that's what led me to my programs as well. And I think you're right there. It is like anything, it's a habit. It needs to really have that time for you to dig in, and and the coaching is just like I know it's phenomenal. And just get that word out. It's because it's having that person that's your go-to person, isn't it? Really,
it is.
Yeah,
and it's completely different too. Like I have awesome friends, and they are wonderful. Like, I can give them a call and I can vent to them, and my family as well. And I can sort of like offload on them. But to have a coach sort of like that sort of like whole space for you, doesn't like, comment, sort of like agree with you, doesn't disagree with you, but just sort of like helps you explore what your thoughts are around whatever's going on. No, but nowhere else in my life. I never, ever had that experience until I hit coaching. And then I was like, why didn't I hear about this thing sort of 20 years ago? Because like, I think to my kids, I'm like, my gosh, you guys,
I needed that back then. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, I think we all do that. We have those little aha moments, and, and we just want to give those, to others, and that learn, help them learn from what we've gone through. So then that way they can move through that as well, and have a much more richer life. That's what we want for everybody, isn't it? In a lot of ways.
Yeah, it is. And it's so much fun. Like, I know it sounds cliche or whatever, but like, I think a lot of people in this sort of environment, we're all attracted to so much work because it's helping other people. Like, we get to feel so good when we help everybody else.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, a constant dopamine hit. I just love it.
Absolutely. Oh, I just love being around people, and, at Common Grounds and through my Ladies Who Long Lunch and my own coaching. It's just like, I realize that's where I get my energy from,
Yeah.
and where you're saying it's like that dopamine, there. And, I do need to be around people. And, I think that's what, sometimes as women, we can kind of, especially like when you're working, family, all of these things, they can really take over your whole entire life, and you just don't feel like yourself. So that's where like the coaching really comes in, and be like, no, this is normal. This is, what you're going through is okay, but let's put the steps in to help you move forward so you can better manage that, isn't it? In so many ways.
Totally. Yeah, totally. And I think sort of like the type of women that sort of are attracted to me, that, that seem to enjoy working with me, is sort of like they really have high expectations of themselves. So not only do they have like the expectations of what, they may have it in their sort of like daytime job or what have you, and also sort of what, their family may expect of them, but they've got their own expectations on top of that. And that creates so much more pressure for them. And that's how I sort of help them as well, as like help, become like even sort of, a valve release. I help them sort of relieve some of that sort of pressure that they're creating for themselves because of those high expectations.
Absolutely. We all put too many expectations on ourselves.
Totally.
I have to say, I've really enjoyed our chat. But if I could ask you, like, though, you could think about, or you talked a little bit about how, like, we wish we had all this coaching back then. But what is it would be kind of one kind of piece of advice would you give people, like, that you be like, I wish I knew that? Is there some kind of one thing that always comes up for you?
That's such a good question. One piece of advice.
Oh, is there an advice, like a...
No, I think I could go on forever because there's so much. But I think really, probably when I was younger, I didn't realize how much more power that I had in my life. I sort of thought that when things happen to me, then it's out of my control. Like, I just have to deal with it. I just have to put up with it. And whilst I think that, there's an element of that because we live in a world where, things do happen to us that are outside of our control. I think recognizing what coaching has helped me is recognizing that regardless of what happens, whether or not it's somebody talking to me or a world event, what have you, I always have that inner power to decide how I want to respond.
Yes.
And that's what coaching has allowed me to tap into, because I didn't recognize that a long time ago. And I also allowed a lot of stuff to get in the way of me exercising that power. But, the power of coaching has allowed me to sort of tap back into that power. And now I show up in the world in the way that I like and I love and that I'm proud of. And I think if we can all start doing maybe more of that, that's what I try and encourage our kids to do. I think the world would become a better place.
100%. And, and I think I can see that in some of the, the next generation. I mean,
yeah,
with my daughter, she's, she'll be 25 this year, and she really, I'll be honest, that's me. I have, I've raised her to be that strong, independent woman.
yeah.
But I think, I can see that in her friends as well. They're, taking more risks. They're saying, no, this is the kind of job I want to work in. This is what I want, and I think that I applaud them because, for so like, when I was younger, like, I'm 52. So when I was starting work, there, I felt like I had to be like, whatever job I had, I was thankful for, and I was raised to, that's, go to work, this is the job that you do, and this is what you're probably going to do for the rest of your life. And without like looking outside the box. And I think, we've changed so much in this world, and, and our kids, they have so many more choices now. And I think also that comes from that coaching that's come from that. It's making people realize in our younger generation, even when you get older, that you can change, things can
Totally. Yeah.
can totally move into a different direction. So,
and I think that really resonates with me, like, for our younger kids. And I think what I love and what I'm so passionate about is creating that awareness for, the likes of myself and yourself, our generation, and sort of maybe, women in their 30s and 40s as well, because we all tend to be like maybe indoctrinated with whatever societal beliefs or familial beliefs that we sort of grow up with. And then you just accept those.
Yes.
And maybe then when we get into our, midlife sort of whatever, we might start questioning those. But like our kids are able to do that sort of so much younger, and yeah,
Absolutely.
why not start doing that as well? Sort of like, so
100%.
that's what I love. So
Oh, thank you so much, Tricia. I really enjoyed this chat. I could actually definitely talk all day.
so can I, Joe.
Oh, look, so where is the best way? Like, I am going to add your links, to the website that we're going to be having and out in the newsletter. But is there a better way? Like, what's the best way to contact you?
Yeah, so I have a website, triciaboltoncoaching.com. I'm on Instagram, so you can follow me on Instagram. I also am on LinkedIn as well. I started hanging out over there. I started a YouTube channel, throwing up some sort of like, trainings up there just to help sort of some people when people ask me questions, when I come across things that my clients struggle with. I'm starting to throw some videos up there to help just everybody. So yeah, that's how you can reach me.
Exciting. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And I'm sure that you all loved it as much as I did. So thank you all so much, everybody, and have a great afternoon. See you later, Tricia.
Thanks, Joe.